done? Okay, let it run for a second. All right, so this is Miss Levy's art classes. There's a lesson I teach every year. It's the 8 layers of shadow and the 3 styles of shadow. And I teach it over and over and over again, so I thought it would be really good if we had a podcasting of this lesson. So my students have set up my squares for me already. And I'm going to start next with feathering, because feathering is very similar to this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my number 2 pencil again. And I'm going to think of this as a flashlight. So let me go ahead and just kind of diagram something out. If I had a little flashlight in this corner right here. Okay, light and sound arc. So in terms of my 8 layers, I would have to really work at doing this. It's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start just like I did here, kind of in a corner. And I'm going to start very much small and not dark. Now, it's not exactly light. I would say that it's medium light. And now I'm going to feather that out until it disappears. So I start pulling lightly out, going the direction of the light corner that I had identified. Here I can still see a line of my original establishment of color. So I need to feather this out a couple of times before I can really go back over it again. Okay, one could argue that this is all pretty much the same, and it's not so wrong in terms of it's a little bit the same. It is where it butts up against the edges. It is in fact very much darker though. So now my challenge is to just pull it out. And you can start to begin to see that you're starting to get this same gradation. Even in the middle tones, you start to get a sense of where I'm going. And this is called feathering. And I'm going to go back over my dark edges one more time. And when I do that, I'm going to wind up with a little bit of a line of shadow. And it is my job at that point, again, to feather that out. And I do that several times until I begin to develop my 8 layers of shadow. And I might have to go over it a half a dozen times to do that. To get really great contrast of really nice, yummy darks against just the crisp white paper, it takes a little bit of work and effort. It doesn't just happen overnight. And if it did, then everybody could be an amazing artist without taking an art class. But there's a magic to patience in life. And it's not just about art, it's about everything. All right, criticism. It's getting nice and dark around the edge, but this area here is really just going 2 or 3 variations. So I'm going to go ahead and follow my instinct and go for a nice medium dark edge, knowing full well I have to pull it out. And now I'm going to start to pull that out. Again, this is done with a regular number 2 pencils from Office Depot. Actually one of the lowest quality pencils you can buy. Their graphite isn't that great, the wood isn't that great. So, but I'm doing it because I want, with this pencil, because I really want you to see that it can be done with truly the worst products available. and I don't mean that negative towards Office Depot, but I wanted you to know that it's really not, people all the time say to me, my students say, well, Miss Levy, it's your pencil. And it's not the pencil, it's the user. And I want everybody to see that using the lowest quality pencil that I can find, now I've never compared them with Hello Kitty, so you can't do this kind of work with lead pencil. Lead pencils are for making just straight lines like drafting. So I'm going to trade out at this point. I'm going to go for an HB2, love them. Now, one could say, okay, this is dark, there's 2 layers of dark here, and then this is all the same. And they're right. So it's my job to feather it out. Okay, so I would say this needs a little care where I'm not doing so much line. I'm going the opposite direction, but this is truly not cross-hatching. And I will say cross-hatching for the final example. All right, it's pretty good. I would probably tell my students to keep working on it a little bit. And so if you want to know for sure, if you have all 8 layers, you know, you can kind of start to count it by doing the same thing that I've done here.